Welcome to 1900 to 1949 exhibition, where you find a selection of artworks from Absa's corporate collection that depicts a visual narrative of the early South Africa, where artists attempted to portray an involvement and search for the spirit and identity of Africa. The earlier works show an attachment and influence of Europe, compared to the later artworks that provide the sign of consciousness of the attachment process and psychological withdrawal from European roots. At the turn of the last century, South Africa was still caught up in the South African War, which ended in 1902. At this stage, artists such as Francis Oder, J.H. Perneef, Anton van Vo, and Peter Wenning had already established themselves in Pretoria. Edward Ruth, who came out of the British forces to fight in the South African War and, like Oder, was a war artist, had settled in the Cape after the war. This and a number of other artists carried a tradition of the British and Dutch art schools, and for many years had a great influence on the development of art in South Africa. From the point of view of European tradition, these artists were confronted for the first time with a completely different kind of light, which stern over the vast South African landscape, in contrast with the dampness which was often characteristic of the work of Dutch and British landscape artists. Initially, South African art was characterized by the generally accepted conventions of time-honored art schools traditions, but quite soon artists like Henry Stratford, Alf Palmer, and several others favored more of the modernism approach. At the same time, Emerson and Maggie Lobsher were studying in Germany, where German expressionism would shape and direct their work. With the development and growth of Johannesburg into a more metropolitan and financially strong city, and into the gold mining industry and industry in general, art activities moved from Cape and northwards. This move away from the large Cape scenery was probably responsible for the completely new view of interpretation of the South African landscape, where lighting effects on the Transvaal veld created new qualities and challenges for artists. Here, artists such as Perneef, Walter Batters, and Alexis Preller, to name a few, were the pioneers in establishing and gaining recognition for an own art identity.